take your place. And I'm so proud to say, you're my wifey, Audrey. Now that the thing turn up, things I not see up. Love what we have shot a road. How what them a go do now, the way you may love, yes, and ring palm finger, everything brighter. Well, now what Audrey run the town.
I love when he says Audrey run the town. I just love that song. He's like, the world know Audrey run the town. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Audrey A. Thomas, attorney at law. This is the Empowerment Hour here on 93.5 FM radio. We're also streaming live with CTVN1.com. CTVN1.com. Bobby's going to kill me. I keep messing that up. CTVN1.com. Let me just make some acknowledgments. I want to say a happy, healthy, and prosperous birthday to Green Zone's own First Lady. It is her birthday as of 12 o'clock tonight. We will be off the air by then, so I want to give her a big shout out and a green up and tell her happy birthday. Let's all say happy birthday to First Lady.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, First Lady.
Dougie from Feel Good Radio has joined us in the studio. Good evening, Dougie. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Miss Audrey A. Thomas. How are you?
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I'm happy that you're here.
You don't look happy.
I love your hat.
Isn't it nice?
It's very sexy.
I know. It's rainy on the outside, so I'm a fisherman.
The theme for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is make your second chance their first impression. It's my attempt at saying to you that, you know, what you have done, you can't undo. But you can make decisions and you can commit acts that will change your circumstance forever. I can name several people who, despite their detours, have followed a path of righteousness that to this day is celebrated. Malcolm X is one of them. Malcolm X, if you saw the Malcolm X movie, that guy had some stuff wrong with him, but he turned out to be one of the greatest humanitarians that ever lived. And he went through different stages of transformation. He went from being a very hateful, angry, reformed black person to being a very accepting, nurturing, and kind human person. And then they killed him, which I find very ironic.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. But what I'm saying to you is that you don't have to be consistently who you are. And let me give you an example of this. I have in the studio with me my co-host, Javian Forbes, who is all of 24, who when Siobhan, my other co-host, and I met was 1 year old. 1 year old?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Was it the first half of 99 or the second half?
You know, he was a few months.
Because if it was
You're not a nice person,
If
Javian.
it was in the fall semester, then I was a year old.
I can't. I just can't. I wish Steven was here. And let me just say this. Siobhan can vouch for me. I was not always the easiest person to deal with, but I've been consistently kind, haven't I?
Yes, this is why you have your second chance with Siobhan.
Yes. And one of the things that I'll tell you is that, you know, you can't fight your destiny. You can depart from it, but you can't fight it. And until you live within your realm of possibilities, you will never truly find happiness. One of the things that I'm very joyful about is that I've always been able to find a way to champion the causes that I take on. And I say champion because I have always believed that I'm my champion, but I've never had to do it alone. I've always had people like Jackie Andrews and Heloise Smith and Vilma Buchanan and so many other people. Pat, whose name to this day, I don't know her last name, but she lives on Cowell Street and she has a son named Anwan, who's my son's godfather. And other individuals, Rose Walker, so many great people, my parents, everyone who always made me feel that regardless of who I chose to be at that moment, I would be accepted once I became who God intended for me to be. And when I say God, I mean the spirit that guides me, the inner woman that should overpower everything that is corrupt within me and let the goodness blossom. And oftentimes, when you're faced with difficulties, your first choice is to react violently. But I'm telling you, if you just let your second chance be their first impression, you'll make the world a better place, not just for them, but for you. Am I right, Bonnie?
Yes, you are. And I always say this is the same thing as being careful how you treat people. I always say that.
Yes.
Be careful how you treat
Be
people.
very careful.
It's the same thing.
Be very careful. Douglas, we haven't heard. Well, before I go any further, I'm opening the phone lines, but let me tell you this. If you call here and say anything I don't agree with, I'm going to press the button and cut you off my line.
I'll defend you.
Thank you. I love JVN. Ladies and gentlemen, 914-636-9847. 914-636-9847. I really want to hear your thoughts. We're talking about Donald Sterling, but we're talking about him from an intellectual perspective in terms of how do you combat hatred? How do you combat hateful speech? How do you combat the things that hurt you to your core? How do you overcome it? You ignore it, you dismiss it, you cast it aside as irrelevant, and you find another way to show them why their opinion is invalid and detrimental to them, not you.
Right, and I think that's what we've seen with the Donald Sterling affair. I think we've seen it in the past.
We have a caller. Good evening, caller. You're on the air, and I'm wanting you to behave.
Hello.
Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Hi. I'm Jackie Andrews.
Hi, Jackie Andrews.
And I just heard Miss Thomas call my name. And I just want to say about second chances, I do believe in that.
We can hear you, Jackie Andrews. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
About second chances. And I do believe in second chances because God has made us all equally, although some of us don't believe it, But we do, when we get a second chance, it is the God above that has helped us to get that second chance. And I think that Miss Thomas, in her show, I've known her, oh my God, since 90, I would say. And I do believe in second chances because I know that our paths crossed years ago and we just missed each other, and now we are back again. And I just want to say I do believe in second chances, and I think her show is exquisite. Glad to know her in my lifetime, and glad she's part of my family. And have a good night.
Thank you, Jackie Andrews.
Siobhan, that's on the show. That is my daughter.
And she sounds like the proud mom, You can hear. Siobhan,
Yes.
say hello to your mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, sweetie. Hi. Enjoy yourselves now. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you for
Thank
calling
you.
in.
All right.
That is so awesome. Now, continue, sir. You were making a point.
I totally forgot what I was saying.
Don't you love that?
I hate that. That always happens to me.
I never forget what I'm saying. And I'm going to tell you why. Because whatever comes in my head, I process it and I kind of put it in a box and I use it later on.
I often lose boxes.
I made that up, right?
Of course. If I had put that in a box, I would have lost the box.
He gives me such joy. He's awesome. Like, seriously. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you that I know you might think, yeah, easy for you to say, Miss Thomas, you're a lawyer. I wasn't always a lawyer. I was not always a lawyer. Before I was a lawyer, I was a human person who made a lot of detours, who made a lot of poor choices. But again, I chose to get back up again each and every single time. And no matter what people were saying, and people have said some things, I'm telling you, human beings have invented endless ways to hurt other human beings' feelings. They have people, I remember being 15 and pregnant and having people just look at me and say, that's a damn shame, and just talk about me endlessly as if I was not present. And I had to just learn to cope and ignore them. And those very people became my clients later on. And I never reminded them of the way they treated me. I just did my job. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the air. Good evening. Caller,
I was just.
caller, you're on the air. Good evening.
How you doing? Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that I was checking out the show and I love it.
Really?
Yes.
I love you.
What was that?
I love you.
Oh, well, thanks. Is this Audrey?
This is Audrey.
Hey, this is Keith. How you doing?
Hi, Keith. How are you? Are you
I'm
are you listening in Delaware?
I'm out in Delaware.
Oh my goodness, guys, we have arrived. We have callers from Delaware
And Canada.
and Canada.
Yeah. I want to let you know you're doing a great show, and I'm going to be tuning in every single week to check you out. Definitely.
Oh, and now that we're on CTVN1.com, you can see us live every week.
Oh, what is that? C?
CTVN1.com.
Okay. I'm going to check you out live also.
Thank you,
And-
Keith.
Yes, and the topic is great. Definitely, I do believe in second chances also. You definitely have to take advantage of that second chance and try to make it the best, as possible, best possible.
Make it your first impression.
Yes, definitely. And I'm going to be tuning in definitely. And I want to say hello to Bonnie out there
Thank you, Keith.
and your
Hello.
co-host. And keep up the good work, definitely.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. We'll talk
You too.
soon.
All right.
Wow. We've arrived, JVN.
Maybe you'll be famous one day.
Yes. Well, actually,
maybe you'll be famous
I'm
soon.
already famous because I was just telling Javen in the car that some woman ran up to me in the courthouse and said, she's thanking God that she finally ran into me. I listened to you. I was at your seminar and I can't believe I'm running into you. And I thought, this is hot. This is really hot.
So
I could get used to this.
Just unroll those coattails and we'll jump on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Audrey A. Thomas, attorney at law, 914-636-9847, 914-636-9847. Make your second chance their first impression. Now, Javian, I know you wanted to talk about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's perspective on the Donald Sterling issue. Why don't you brief it?
So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a famous basketball player from back in the day, he's legendary to people who really follow basketball. So, of course, everyone wants his input on this, but he tried to be very nuanced and very reserved and very thoughtful in his reaction. Of course, he doesn't like what Donald Sterling said, but he also didn't like the fact that his private conversation with his girlfriend / nanny was recorded and then put out for the world to listen to. And then when it was in the public eye and when this horrible thing that he said was out there for everyone to really see, all the media and just basically everyone in America just jumped on him. And now there's this outrage fueling outrage, and everyone was piling on, and now finally everyone said Donald Sterling had to go. But Donald Sterling, according to everyone who knew Donald Sterling and knew about Donald Sterling, apparently has a long history of doing racist things and making racist comments.
And saying horrendous comments. You know what I thought about, ladies and gentlemen? And I apologize if you are outraged by my mild-mannered perspective on this. But you have to remember that I'm an attorney. And the first thought that came to my mind was, you remember years ago there was a student. He was he had the inclination to put his laptop and record this other student engaging in sexual relations with a same-sex partner. And he blasted it all over the student website or whatever. And the young man jumped off a bridge and killed himself. And as I heard the story, I kept thinking, I'm mad that this guy doesn't want blacks around because I'm black and I'm hoping that I can get a seat in the front row at the Clippers game. And now he's taking away my opportunity, right? But in the same token, I'm also an attorney. And I'm sworn to uphold the law. And I just keep thinking, if this man killed himself, shouldn't someone go to jail? Because as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, this was a private, intimate discussion. The things that I say privately when I'm angry, and I can say some doozies, I would never want repeated. And I would sue everyone, and I would invest every cent that I own. Every asset that I have would be liquidated just to make the point that you don't get to do this to me because my privacy is essential to me. And as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, he said, we just chastised the government for violating our privacy rights, then how is it different when a layperson or a civilian does it?
No, I think, of course, the reason no one has said anything about his girlfriend is because she's not famous and she's not rich and she doesn't own a team. So she doesn't.
And she's black and Mexican.
And she's black and
because
Mexican.
somehow that gives you a pass. If you're black and Mexican, you get a pass.
I don't think most people are giving her a pass because no one cares about her. She doesn't make news. I think most of the outrage isn't so much genuine. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is genuine and people feel bad about this, but most of it is, will this get ratings?
Right.
Is this good television? And I think
Yes.
because Donald Sterling has done worse things in the past. He was fined for housing discrimination, and even though he didn't admit guilt, he was fined for it multiple times, and the report that came out had him and his wife saying and doing horrible things.
Yes.
So
I think one of the things he said was that people of color stink and they harbor rats.
right. And so he said that in the past, and yet he still had a team. And the NBA has been majority black for a very long time now, so I'm sure right then and there that there should have been there should have been a greater amount of outrage, as a
Right.
matter of fact, because those are people who were being denied homes and systematically kicked out of the properties that he owned. But now he insulted black people as a whole, which he did before, and he insulted
rich black people.
black
And
people.
so I'm thanking you so much for making that point. Do you see how this is unjust, Bonnie?
Yes, I do. Yes,
This
I
is
do.
ridiculous.
Yes. Yes.
Like, really, when he offends rich black people, now it's a problem and he should lose everything. But when he's being offensive to poor black people, why is he so racist?
Right, and he's not the only racist person in America in power.
Or in the NBA. And that's my problem. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I have to protect his rights to say the nasty things he said in private because I want to be able to say the nasty thing I want to say in private. Like when I call him spaghetti, that's code for. Yes, I call him spaghetti. I don't want that repeated. I don't want it on tape. And if CTVN1.com plays this on the air, I will deny it. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have a lot of time. And what I would like to say is this. All you need to do is believe in you. What they say isn't nearly as important as what you believe. You are the sole arbiter of your destiny. And it's very lonely when you're trying to go up and other people are trying to pull you down. But I'm telling you that the ride is worth it. That's my favorite phrase. The ride is always worth it. As I look back, as I reflect, as I think about the days that Jackie Andrews and I spent enjoying the ride, it was worth it. You know, when I look at my children and when I sit here and I hear Javian say, who's only one generation away from me, and I hear him say that no one can say to him that he's only here because of affirmative action or he doesn't belong here. I feel good. I feel that the law, our justice system, actually works. I feel that even though it's slow, it works. It does what it's supposed to do when we let it. And you cannot let soundbite and tidbits cause you to make decisions that you have no reason to make. Because as you're trying to keep him down, you're going to stay down with him. So make your second chance their first impression. If your thought was to punch him in the face when he said the N-word, the next time you hear it, ask him, is that with an E-R or an A? You know where I'm going with this, JV.
Oh, yes.
We have 2 minutes, and I'm going to spend my 2 minutes talking about this. You want to march on Washington? March on Washington about Trinidad James, who said, don't believe me, just watch me. Nigga, 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 nigga. Don't believe me, just watch me. March on Washington for that. Because I think that reinforces all of the negative stereotypes that we have been trying to get away from since 1867. That is more of a concern for me than some sorry little 80-year-old man who's sleeping with black women to feel better about himself as he talks about the black guys that shouldn't be brought to his games, because he knows, and I'm going to end it there. We all know what he knows. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Audrey Thomas. Javian, your final thoughts. Bonnie, your final thoughts.
Well, your comments about a certain rapper are, that's a discussion for another day.
It is. We're going to talk about it next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bonnie, Siobhan.
Well, my final thoughts are everybody just be good. Just be happy.
Yes.
That's it. That's all we can do.
Because I'm happy. Hey, you, dude, in the fisherman's hat, what's your final thought?
Like, really?
Really?
All right, man. Like, just feel good.
Feel
you know?
good?
Yeah, that's it. And don't make a big deal out of what this gentleman said.
Don't.
Don't make a big deal out of it. We already know what we know.
Yes.
And we are not where we were. So
right.
let's not go back there.
Let's not.
No.
Let's choose to live in unity.
Yeah.
Let's choose to live in unity. Ladies and gentlemen, make your second chance their first impression. Good night.